spices according to your taste, right? And in those days, they also would have used black pepper, peppercorns, about a teaspoonful. And today, people might think, oh, that wouldn't be good, but it does give a little bit of a bite, and you wouldn't guess it's pepper at all, right? And it was supposed to be peppery and spicy gingerbread. I didn't put any in here. I've done it before just to see how it goes, and I must say, I've served it to people and they didn't guess there was pepper in it at all. But you would put that aside in a cool place for 24 hours and then roll it out and press it with stamps. She wouldn't have had something like this, right? These are mid 18th century stamps here about people's work days, as you see. But I just did it because I happened to have them. These are something she would have probably had access to. Peddlers and traders sold these, and they were cheap. They were cut out of wood, as are mine, cut out of wood, and you could barter for them, and they weren't much, really. For pennies, you could have had one, and they last a long time if you take care of them. So these are simple, again, just pieces of tin that you also could have traded for with peddlers, and they did barter, or they took money. But again, I'm talking about a penny. A penny that I know had a lot more value. It's not fair to think of it as we do as a penny today. But and then this is something that she would have had access to, something a bit more complex, I suppose. So it's raised, as you see, and this is something that goes back to about the 1660s. This carving. So she lived in the early 1700s. Would have had could have had access to something like this, and these two are from that time period. So once you stamp them, then you would let them sit, dry out. They have to dry. If you don't, the images will collapse when you bake them. They'll just fall. So you let them dry for 24 hours. And it probably wasn't wise for me to do it in the heat of July. It's not a good thing. For all sorts of reasons, right? They can start to collapse too in the heat, but they didn't. I kept the fan on them, and here they are. It came out nicely. These are baked now, and they don't take long. At 350 for the larger ones, I think I kept for about 14 minutes, 13, 14 minutes, and these little ones for 10 minutes, right? As you see here. Again, they don't really take long. And part of that is, I think, the drying out process helps them cook faster. And once they're baked, they're darker. Before you bake them, they're a lot lighter. I wish I had some unbaked ones to show you the difference. So then Molly would sell these from door to door, and she would trek sometimes 20 miles a day. Can you imagine that? And her gingerbread was very popular all up and down the northeastern coast of Maine. She became a well-known figure, Penobscot woman, Wabanaki woman from our Confederacy, selling her gingerbread. So now you have the recipe. It's pretty easy. Try to make it. Even if you don't have a mold, you can just roll out and do little shapes, or even you can roll them in balls, put a nut in the middle and roll it into a ball, dry them out and cook them for 8 or 10 minutes. I would go with 10, I think. And there you have it. So she was an early entrepreneur and lived a fairly long life here, making people happy. The children, when they saw her, would come running out the settler children would come running out to see her, to get her gingerbread. She treated people well, and they seemed to respect her. So she made a nice little, well, actually, it started out, I think, as making some extra money, but it ended up with her actually making a living out of it. Her gingerbread became so popular. Store owners would order it from her, so she knew what she was doing. Anyway, a little story about an early Native American Wabanaki entrepreneur, Molly.